Hi, welcome back. This is step 3 of writing an essay in 6 easy lessons. To remind you, step 1 was close reading, step 2 was making a claim. Today, we're working specifically on summarizing. The objectives for close reading were that students will be able to read a text in such a way that demonstrates a thoughtful, analytical examination of the text. When we close read, we focused on significant details and patterns that helped us develop a deep and precise understanding of the text and its form, craft, or meaning. In step 2, we made a claim. We utilized those details and patterns that we found when we close read, and then we revealed those in a deep and precise understanding of the text, and we acknowledged that it needed to be supported by the text. Today, specifically, is summarizing, step 3. Students will be able to clearly express the main idea of the text with key supporting details without using direct quotes, and while demonstrating the ability to differentiate key details from minor and significant ones. Again, we're working specifically on summarizing. At the end of today's lesson, you will be able to clearly express the main idea of the text you're working with, and you will be able to identify the key supporting detail without using any direct quotes, while you demonstrate the ability to differentiate between more minor and significant ones. To remind you, we're working with Ruth B. Lost Boy, and we annotated the text. We found patterns in her diction that were moving from a negative connotation to a positive connotation, therefore moving from a negative tone to a positive tone. We realize that she's working with a feeling of isolation and loneliness towards a feeling of being accepted and wanted and loved. When we made our claim statement, we acknowledged that she was using the allusion to Peter Pan and Finding Neverland, and she was using her diction to get us there. Summarizing in a nutshell. We're going to start the summary with our text title and our author's name. We always want to remind our reader who and what we're working with. And then we want to identify the main idea. Just one. What's the big picture? If we see more than one main idea in the text, we have to ask ourselves if one supports the other. If one supports the other, then you really still have one main idea. And then in a summary, we want to have 3 supporting ideas. These need to be key details that support the one big one. To help us do that, we need to review our annotations. Usually, when reviewing the annotations, we'll see the trends leading to the big idea and supporting details. So bear with me as we go back and look at our annotations. So here at the beginning of the song, we noticed that Ruth B. sings that there was a time when she was alone. There was nowhere to go, no place to call home, and she only had one friend, and it was actually the man in the moon, who was not always consistently there. And then a shadow came to her and, with the sweetest smile, said he actually wanted to talk to her and be her friend, and that she would never be lonely. And since that day, even though she's lost, she's in Neverland, 2 negative words, she is conveying a positive connotation, and she's hanging out with Peter Pan, and that even though they're bored, they play. And even though they're always on the run from danger, they're escaping reality, and that Neverland is now home to her, and that she is now free. And I notice that she repeats, Neverland is home to lost boys like me, and lost boys like me are free. And I notice that that is a recurring line of the song that she brings back again and again. I also note that Ruth B. says Peter Pan told her to believe in herself and in him, and that she has one isolated instance of imagery with the cloud of green, and that leads her to her destiny. And she leaves the town that never loved her to a family. So I'm reviewing those lines, and now I want to review my claim. I'm reviewing my claim that through the allusion to Peter Pan and Neverland, and by using powerful diction, Ruth B's Lost Boy signifies that people desire a sense of freedom from the rigidity of adulthood and normal life. Even though I will not be using the claim in my summary, it's important to review it so that I can remember what exactly I focused in on. And then I want to go back and refresh my memory one last time of my annotations and what's going on in the song, story, TV, movie, podcast, whichever it is that I'm analyzing. I feel that I'm ready to go on. So now I have my summary pre-written, and it reads, Ruth B's song Lost Boys uses the children's story of Peter Pan and Neverland. Connecting to the idea of being a lost boy, the speaker tells the audience of how lonely she felt before becoming friends with Peter Pan. Peter Pan promises her she won't be lonely ever again if she goes to Neverland with him. Before finally going with Peter Pan, the speaker was told she first must believe in Pan and in herself. While in Neverland, she relates tales of escaping the dangerous Captain Hook, of playing in the woods with others like herself, and of never wanting to grow up. Because the song is relatively short, my summary can be one paragraph. If I were to analyze a lengthier movie, or a longer news article, or even a book, perhaps, I would need multiple paragraphs in which to do so. But there are a couple of things to notice about this summary. First, I clearly stated the author's name, and I clearly state the title of the song, Ruth B. Lost Boys, because I want my reader to acknowledge where I'm getting my information from and that I did not create this information myself. I also note my use of compound and complex sentences. The sentences that can be combined together to read smoothly, I do so. But if a sentence needs to be isolated in a short, simple sentence, I use that as well. So I'm using a mixture of sentence variety. Notice I've also identified the big idea of isolation, and I included some supporting details of Neverland, of how they escaped reality, of how important it is to believe in oneself. Notice that each of these supporting ideas connect back to the big idea of feeling isolated, and how that the speaker no longer feels isolated once he or she is in Neverland with Peter Pan. I'll see you soon for lesson number 4.